The Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA says it has put in place measures to penalize individuals who flout its bylaws to ensure a clean Accra. In the Assembly's new fee-fixing resolution, they say households that give refuse to junkies or those on tricycles for disposal will be fined 850 Ghana cedi in addition to 200 Ghana cedi for the refuse collected, totaling 1,050 Ghana cedis. They are therefore urging Ghanaians to patronize waste management services to improve sanitation in the country. In the studio with me this morning is head of AMA's Waste Management Department, Victor Nikwe Kote. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you
now,
for having me.
Where are we with our quest to get a clean Accra?
Thank you very much. You know, sanitation issues. Sanitation is one of the sectors with multiple stakeholders. We have policymakers, or we have regulators, we have service providers, and then we also have service beneficiaries. That's the households and then businesses, or in short, residents of the city of Accra. And all these players are supposed to play their roles very well. If any of the stakeholders fails to perform his or her role as required, there will be an issue. For example, if right policies are not in place, we will not be able to achieve what we intend in providing safe and healthy environment for all. And then on the part of service delivery, if the right infrastructures are not in place, if service providers are not providing the services as required, there will be a gap between service demand and the service delivery. So there will be an issue. And then also, on the part of beneficiaries, that's the households, businesses, what have you, residents of Accra, if we don't perform our roles very well, there will also be an issue. Okay, let me look on, let's focus on service beneficiaries, that's residents and then businesses. What are they required to do? They are required to package their waste well, make it available to AMA or their authorized agents. Because the agents are those who have been accredited by the AMA to collect waste and then dispose of them at the right place. So
all right, Mr. Kote, we will come into that later, the details of waste management and waste collection. But at this point, where are we in our quest to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa? At what point are we now?
AMA, we are adopting a three-pronged approach in making Accra the cleanest or one of the cleanest cities in Africa. We are looking at improving provision of services and then infrastructure. We are also looking at education and enforcement, and then also public engagement. In the area of provision of services and infrastructure, you know, Accra now, we are using, we've outsourced every community in Accra to a private service provider to collect waste in the community, and then the corresponding revenue. That's what we call the fee and performance-based solid waste collection service. So residents are required to use the services of the accredited service providers within their area where they are living. And then in the area of education and enforcement, as we speak now, we have a team of 10 task force members who have been equipped, and then they'll go around various locations within the city of Accra for enforcement purposes.
So in percentage terms, how far are we in reaching that goal to make Accra the cleanest?
I would say, let me give ourselves a little over 50%.
A little over 50%, yes, all right. So your reporter to us have said that individuals who use tricycles to collect waste from houses and, you know, other areas do not dispose them properly, leaving more work for the assembly at an extra cost. Now, don't those people have an umbrella body under which they work?
Yeah, those
who use the tricycles or, you know, the wheelbarrows in collecting refuse?
For now, as I speak, their activities are mostly not regulated. But AMA, you know, though the activities are not regulated, although for now the activities are illegal, but they render very important services to residents of Accra. because there are so many places that you cannot reach with regular collection vehicles, because either the roads are not well paved, or accessibility is quite difficult. But these tricycles, because of their mobility and then their size, they can go to several places where the regular vehicles could not reach. So their services are quite important. So what we are doing at AMA now, we want to regularize and then register them, so that we're able to monitor their activities. Because the way they are working now, there are environmental issues and then there are safety issues as well. You see them in town riding without crash helmets, very rickety equipment, and all kind of things. So we want to look at the environment and then the safety aspect. And also we have to look at their numbers, because as a city we cannot have 1,000 tricycles plying the streets of Accra. There might be road safety issues.
So Mr. Kote, you've said that you have outsourced every community to a private waste management, yet you admit that some communities are not accessible or because they don't have good roads. So these tricycles are the only means of getting their rubbish out of their homes. So why are you going to fine people 850 cedis for using the services of these people?
You know, the 850 is not just for using the services of the tricycles. You know, when you drive around town, especially in the mornings, we see a lot of waste dumped at unauthorized places like street medians, pavements, and even on the roads. So per our fifth reason resolution for 2018, when one disposes of waste at an unauthorized place, the fine is 850 Ghana cedis. And then for abating the waste, for abating the nuisance caused by dumping waste at an unauthorized place, the charge is 200 Ghana cedis.
So let me get this clear. You are not fining those who give their rubbish to these tricycles. You are fining those who use the tricycles.
Yeah, those who dispose at unauthorized places.
Okay.
Yes, and then in areas to where we have regular, because the AMA bylaw of 1995, residents of Accra are required to give their waste to AMA or their authorized agents.
But you've just admitted that some places, those AMA vehicles and these private waste management vehicles cannot go there. Yes. So between the time that you hope to regularize these tricycle waste collectors, what should those people in such areas do?
You know, some of these things you can consider them on case-by-case basis. But let's take a place like Kokomemli, where you have Joy News studios. We have a regular contractor working here who is very efficient, but still some residents prefer the services of these push carts. In this morning when I was coming to the studio, I saw one pulling his load on the streets, obstructing traffic. Meanwhile, there's an efficient service provider in Kokomemli. So in such case, because they don't want to pay the right fee, because let me tell you, all waste management fees are fixed by the assembly. It's not that the contractors charge arbitrarily whatever they want. Every fee is approved by the assembly. But because some residents do not want to pay the right amount, they prefer the services of these push carts and then the junkies, because they will take some 50 pesos or even 1 CD. So such places where you have contractors being efficient and still people do not want to subscribe to their services, you know, we have to enforce that aspect of our ballot, because we have to protect the investment of our service providers as well.
Okay. Mr. Kote, another thing that I think we should touch on before we move on to something else is the fact that you accuse some of these tricycle operators of being junkies. Why's that?
No tricycle operators. We have, apart from the tricycle operators, we have, when you go to the central business district, or especially the market areas, we have headquarters. They don't use any equipment. They don't use wheelbarrows. They don't use push cars. They don't use tricycles. They carry their load on their head.
But why do you refer to them as junkies?
Oh, they are mostly junkies. They are mostly drug addicts. They are mostly junkies. They just don't understand anything. They carry their waste on their heads, and when they get to the street corner, look everywhere. When no one is watching, then they drop. At times, they will just put the load down and then be standing by it. So to somebody who doesn't know, you may think maybe he's carrying something good and he's tired, so he's just taking a rest. After some time, when no one is looking, you just leave the load and then go away.
Now,
and they are very popular in the market areas. Yeah.
Now let's move to the Kanishi market. If you look at the refuse container there, that's the very large one that's deposited there. It's left full for days. Sometimes you have the rubbish spilling over, and this is a market. And this usually contaminates the food and some of the wares sold there. How are you managing these things?
Kanishi market is another issue on its own. You know, Kanishi market belongs to the Accra Markets Company. Okay. They are the owners of the Kanishi market. And where the waste is on their premises. And by our bylaws, you are required to take care of your premises. On premises inspection, when there's any nuisance on your premises, it's assumed that you, the owner of the premises, or the occupier, you place that in there, even up to the middle of the street. Accra Markets Company is a private entity, although AMA is a shareholder. And the waste over there, AMA is spending close to 3,000 Ghana cedis on monthly basis to evacuate waste at Kanishi market. Accra Markets Company is paying us 6,000 Ghana cedis a month, which is woefully inadequate to service Kanishi market.
They pay you 6,000 a month. You use 3,000 to collect the waste.
Close to 3,000 Ghana cedis a month to collect waste.
And the other 3,000 is used on what?
Pardon?
And the half of it.
We are currently less than half of it. We are spending 30,000, close to 30,000 Ghana cedis at Kanishi market, and they are paying us 6,000 Ghana cedis.
Initially you said 3,000.
Oh, then sorry.
30,000.
30,000
every month.
Every month, and they are paying us 6,000 Ghana cedis. 6,000 Ghana cedis. And the argument they make at times is people come from outside the market to dump refuse on their premises, but it's their property. If I go to Kanishi market now with pickaxes and then shovels and laborers and start digging up trenches, they'll come after me because it's not my premises, it's not my property. So why should you allow somebody to come and dispose of waste on your property and expect the AMA to collect it free of charge? So we're working on the Kanishi issue in a matter of weeks. Maybe we'll come back here and then we'll talk about Kanishi more.
All right, but
because the issues of Kanishi, we will not be able to exhaust over here.
Because there's filth, there's flooding, there's just a lot of issues.
So basically it's a matter of responsibility.
And you place that at the doorstep of the Accra market
because they have to pay, you know, company. Every beneficiary of services, including waste management, have to pay for it.
All right. Now, Mr. Kote, I hear that you have punishment for indiscriminate posting of advertising bills like posters and the other forms of advertising. Now, the offenders such as churches or some who organize events, beach events and all, what is your plan? What exactly are you doing to the offenders, and how are you hoping to rid the city of such a, for lack of a better expression, nuisance?
Yeah, in fact, the issues of posters have been out of our fifth scene for a very long time. It was in 2018 that it was reinstated, and the bulletin came out just a few weeks ago. So we are going to enforce. In fact, the fine per poster is 25 Ghana cedis. So what we will do is we'll just count the number of posters at a point, and then look at the address, and then maybe trace and then find the person. Because previously it wasn't in the fines, but now it's there. So we have basis to do the enforcement now. Because I don't understand why, if a pastor wants to advertise one all-night service, he should displace a whole public place or a wall somewhere with over 100 posters. It makes the city untidy.
Okay. Yeah. Now you're head of the waste management department at the AMA, but we've seen various plans to rid the city of filth, to ensure sanity on our streets. They start for a few weeks or sometimes months and they end. How sure are we that this is going to be something that's long lasting?
The President's declaration of making Accra, vision of making Accra one of the cleanest cities in Africa, it's not a fluke. Already, AMA, one of our mandates is to provide a safe and healthy environment for citizens. So the president's vision has placed some kind of impetus on our activities. And we are not going to stop. What we started, we make sure we achieve our vision by extending the president's vision before. We are not going to stop. Because it's something that we have to, it's part of our mandate. It's something that we need to do.
I appreciate that. For example, just around the Kwame Nkrumah, the new interchange, when you're coming from the Ring Road and you want to come all the way up to Avena, there are some trotro drivers there who stop at places they are not supposed to stop at. When the place was constructed, we had issues with people sleeping under the bridges. The authority decided to, the assembly, I beg your pardon, decided to put some stones there to prevent people from sleeping there. I saw someone actually giving another person a haircut. They've got benches there. We see your task force members come 1 week, 2 weeks, and after that it ends. So the question is, what is going to change? How are you hoping to enforce these new bylaws? So it's not just a repeat of what we know.
I can assure you, in a matter of weeks, you see some changes. Because to be specific, what you just mentioned, Circle, we are meeting over Circle this evening at the mayor's residence to discuss issues around Circle. So you take my word. You see some changes in the next few weeks.
But as an assembly, have you been able to figure out what has not been working?
In the area of sanitation or the city management.
Let's start from sanitation and move on to the city management.
You know, sanitation, currently we have a problem with disposal facilities. You know, waste management services, the waste management chain, there are several services within. And the infrastructure. For example, we have we start from storage, collection, haulage, treatment, and then final disposal. Final disposal is the ultimate bottleneck. When there are issues at the final disposal site, it sort of disturbs the whole waste management service chain. Currently, since 14th April, one of our disposal sites have been closed, that's in Sumia, and then the second one at Boom. It's being operated within some limited hours. Previously, they were operating 24 hours, but since April 14, they've been operating for 12 hours, at less than 12 hours. And waste collection is round-the-clock activity, so it's also affecting us in some way. But the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources is working on that issue. So very soon, this issue of disposal will be resolved, and then to bring some more efficiency into our services. So I must admit there are some
there are challenges.
Issues,
talking about disposal sites, just at the Christ Temple area, and there's a dump site there, and the AMA came out with a very strong warning, asking that nobody dumps rubbish there. But it's still going on. Abose Okai.
I've noticed that about some few weeks ago. So we are working on that.
How are you working on that?
You know, stopping these activities is not easy. You have to mobilize security. You have to mobilize security and some other resources. So currently we are in the mobilization stage. So in a matter of days, we'll stop all those activities there.
Earlier, you said you are, in terms of percentage, you are 50%. At a 50% rate in achieving the president's dream of making Accra the cleaner city in Africa. Per your assessment, when do you think we can become the cleaner city in Africa?
I wouldn't want to give timelines because there are some things beyond our control.
Like?
Some, you know, for example, I just mentioned disposal facilities, and the sanitation ministry that have to do that. And there are some serious action in place now to get a long-term disposal facility, not the 2-year, 3-year kind of thing, but long, sustainable disposal and then other infrastructure in place. For example, transfer stations and then additional collection vehicles and other things. So these are things beyond. There are some activities that are way beyond the jurisdiction of the AMA. And you know, when the president mentioned Accra, not only the jurisdiction of AMA, but metropolitan Accra, including Adenta, La, all those places. And you know, and these are areas that AMA do not have jurisdiction.
Over,
yeah. Yeah, so these are things way beyond our control. So I wouldn't want to put timelines over it. But I'll plead with Joy News to always be on our back and be monitoring some of our activities as well, because you'll be the best judges of some of these things.
Well, the citizens will be the best judges. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Kote. He's head of Waste Management Department at the AMA, and he's given us some assurances. Well, hopefully we'll be observant definitely, and we'll bring you back in studio when those deadlines are due.